Yes.
So using that, which is how I mostly meditate, usually between one of the techniques I space out. Often that'll happen. And I'm not in a good place to figure out what to do next during that space out period. When I realize I've spaced out. So what I've been doing is picking something, having something already set in mind that if I find
That's great.
spaced
That's
out,
a clever strategy. But also, you know, my standard thing, as soon as you get the hint that you're spacing out, if possible, what? What do you do? I'll give you a hint. SL, spoken labels. It's not so much a matter of I'm spaced out, oh, I gotta find a new technique. It's I'm spaced out, I gotta use my options with this technique.
Okay, so let's continue on this, because I know that, and that often comes to mind, and I don't want to. And I wish I felt stronger to work with that, so usually I'll just go back to that beginning technique.
Okay, so let me put a positive spin on I don't want to. That's my job, basically, is to show that actually everything is a window of opportunity. The I don't want to. What's positive about the I just don't want to resistant thing, okay? Well, you're spacing out, right? It means that the concentration isn't good. It means that the attention is being scattered. And we want to gradually train ourselves so that our attention isn't scattered. But what's difficult is that what's scattering the attention is not tangible. There's an intangible force that is scattering your attention. And you're at the mercy of it as long as it's intangible. Now here's why the I just don't want to use spoken labels is a window of opportunity. Because if you do speak the labels, you're gonna not feel good in subjective space. The speaking of the labels is going to be uncomfortable. That's why you don't want to do it. And forcing yourself to do it will make you uncomfortable. Why is that good? Because the invisible forces that were controlling you now have come up as tangible sensations in the body that are penetratable. Okay? And so you go to focus in, or focus on feel in, and you force yourself to do the spoken labels, and you apply it to how uncomfortable you are speaking the labels. And that then allows you to work through those forces in a tangible way. So I wasn't being facetious or cavalier when I said that actually it is actually a window of opportunity to work through the driving forces of scatteredness. So if you're willing to do it, you're going to really develop concentration power effectively. If you're not willing to do it, it's penny wise and pound foolish. You feel a little better during the sit, but you're not really deeply training the skills. So that's my little motivational spiel for SL, spoken labels. Yes?
Well, just to piggyback on that, this morning I spent the first and second sit. I was really tired when I went in. And so I used labels that were mouthed.
Yeah, you sotto voce.
That is not nearly as difficult, for me anyway, to do as spoken labels. And it's completely effective. It was really good.
You whispered the words.
No, I didn't even whisper it.
You just moved your lips.
My lips.
Yeah.
And so there's that, but also I have to tell you, I looked through the manual, and you don't have any place where you describe the 3 different ways of labeling, or the 4 different ways of labeling.
That's in the next edition. That is the biggest lacuna in there, which I realized to my horror soon after it brought out is, what's wrong with this picture? The central technique is not fully described. Now, there is the how to note a label on the internet, okay? But we forgot to put it into the manual. Okay, so yeah, it's like the 1,000-pound elephant in the room. So no, I am poignantly aware of that. But thank you for, yes.
This thing you were describing about the subtle resistance and you stop on a dime, I'm not sure you understood what you're doing. You're stopping on a dime and then the characteristics.
Well, what happens is, yes, I went through it fast, so
Okay.
thanks for asking. So we sometimes are aware of just that there are like forces driving us, okay, in our behaviors, driving us to think, driving us to talk, driving us to move. And it's like force. It's just a force that's making me do it. And it's intangible in the sense that I can't locate it in time and space or give any quality to it other than say it's a force. Follow what I'm saying? This is nothing mysterious so far, right?
Right.
Okay, so how can we make these invisible, intractable forces tangible and tractable so that we can actually penetrate them and work them through? Well, they have to percolate up to tangibility. The way they percolate up to tangibility is through abstinence. Okay? If you abstain from X, then what's been driving you to do X is going to come to the surface. It's going to come to the surface as image, talk, emotional body, sometimes physical body too. This is true for any addiction recovery situation, whether it's recovery from a substance or recovery from compulsive thinking or recovery from life. The ultimate recovery program. Break the addiction to life and death, called liberation. But same is true, okay? The same principle holds. You have to abstain in order for what's been driving it to come up and be tangible as image, talk, body, okay? So when that happens, now you can apply a technique. So the situation that Pam was describing is, well, I space out, and that's a habit. I space out, and I know that I should go to the spoken labels, but I don't want to do it. So that's another habit, not wanting to do the spoken labels. So what I said is, well, let me put a positive spin on that situation. If you force yourself, if you abstain from not speaking the labels, okay? So if in this case, it's a do the behavior thing. If you do that behavior, you're going to feel uncomfortable. Well, we don't want to feel uncomfortable in general, but actually in this case we do. Because whatever comes up in image, talk, and emotional body of I hate this, or you get bang here, bang here, bang here, that represents the forces that were driving those behaviors. But now those forces are not invisible forces. They're tangible sensations. They're tangible visual, auditory, and somatic experiences. Well, what is tangible can be quantumized and can be experienced completely, can be penetrated. Therefore, what is tangible, what is trackable, okay, what is tangible is trackable, meaning that we can apply a mindfulness technique to it, okay? Things are intangible, they're not trackable, okay? So there's little we can do other than white knuckle. But what is tangible is trackable, meaning you can note it. What is trackable is tractable, means you can get a handle on it. So that's the mechanism that I was describing with regards to what's going to happen if you force yourself to speak the labels and why that's a good thing kind of thing.
So that's the same as stopping on a dime?
It's very related. Because when you stop on a dime in daily life, then the juices that have been stirred up by life come up with a vengeance very quickly. And if you can be Johnny on the spot with it, you can actually meditate retroactively. Right? You say, well, I thought that's against the rules, you can't do that. Here's what I mean. Let's say that you're bopping around in the world and you're just like a whirling dervish and you're going here, going there, no techniques, no awareness. And I'm going to really face what's been stirred up. In that 10 minutes, if you really bring your A game, you can retroactively process all those hours of unconscious freneticness. And that's the rhythm of the Zen day. Unlike a Vipassana training day, the Zen day is run around like crazy, stop on a dime. Run around like crazy, stop on a dime. At least Rinzai Zen. Soto Zen, not so much. But Rinzai Zen, absolutely. Run around like crazy, stop on a dime. Run around like crazy, stop on a dime. All day. Now that's either going to make you just frenetic as hell, or you're going to learn what I just said, which is like when you're running around like crazy, and then you stop on a dime, you can process all that crazy very, very quickly. And so it goes. So yes, it's related.
It sounds like a version of asceticism.
Well, asceticism is a generic term. So it, there are many facets to asceticism. That could be one of them, yes. And
Well, when I was running my restaurants, I would every hour go out and sit on the bench in front of the restaurant, the bus stop bench, for 5 minutes. And I found the great advantage of that stopping like that is that then at the end of the day, you haven't built up a whole lot of samskaras. You periodically let go of them so that you're much calmer at the end of the day.
well, that's my peppering, right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's a great specific example.